since the day that we were born. Got to slow down before we fall down. We got stars directing our fate, and we praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace. Millennium. Live for liposuction, detox for your rent, overdose of Christmas, and give it up for Lent. My friends are all so cynical, we refuse to keep the faith. We all enjoy the madness, 'cause we know we're gonna fade away. We got stars directing our fate, and we're praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace. Millennium. Come and have a go if you think you are hot enough. Come and have a go if you think you are hot enough. Millennium. Millennium. We got stars directing our fate, and we're praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace. Millennium. Sounds like children. And when we come, we always come too late. I have to think that we were born to hate. Get up and see the sarcasm in my eyes. And when we come, we always come too late. I have to think that we were born to hate. Get up and see the sarcasm in my eyes. Stars directing our fate. Millennium. It's not too late. Millennium. We're falling from grace. Millennium. And we washed out. We got stars directing our fate, and we're praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace.
Okay, good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? It is the new year, January 3rd, 2026. How are we all doing? And by we, I mean the two people who are in here watching. Boy, this is boding well for the new year already. And to be fair, I did schedule this in the middle of the evening yesterday, so I guess I can't expect too many people to show up. But yes, Happy New Year to all, and let's hope that this year won't be like the last horrid year. Will this horrid year never end? It sure did, Homer, and yet we say that every single year. So yes, how was everybody's holiday, Christmas and New Year? I hope it was all good. I mean, I had a good time. I had a nice little New Year's party, just a few friends and family. You know, all was well. We watched the ball drop. We watched Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, even though Dick Clark has been dead for many years. It was a little difficult trying to explain to my wife who Dick Clark was exactly, and I still don't know if she got it. But, I made an effort. Yes, I think I've officially reached that age where I'm an old man because I don't recognize any of these celebrities who were on the show. Actually, that's not true. I recognize the celebrities who were, around when I was, a wee child. I, of course, recognize the desiccated corpse of Ryan Seacrest. I never really knew what that man did for a living besides just host shit. Does that man, in fact, have any talents or abilities? I don't think so. And yet here we are. A friend at the party. When watching the New Year's Eve festivities on TV. Who's that little girl in the white coat? I think that's a 30-year-old woman, sir. And I still don't know who that was. Ponythroat says, I was working a 12-hour shift in sub-zero conditions on Christmas Day. Well, remember, you got a double ice blast back if you work in too much sub-zero conditions, sir. You can't ice people twice. All right, now we got 6 people watching. That's good. Okay. Yeah, and then there was other New Year's Eve festivities being hosted in other cities. I know Rob Gronkowski was doing something. He, I know it's nice to see a wholesome Chungus blockhead hosting TV for once, instead of like leathery skinned gay men. I mean, granted, Mr. Gronk is not the most intelligent man in the world, but there's a lot of stupidity going on. Anyway, we opened up the stream with music from everybody's favorite dancing chimp man, Robbie Williams. I mentioned him last week, and I decided it was fitting to open him up with him, not open him up. I'm not a biopsy man. As we opened up with him this week. The song was Millennium, which is the perfect song to play in 2026. I mean, what song would I play for the 2026 New Year, really? The mainstream popular music kind of sucks these days. That was, of course, the Chimp Man's one hit that he had in the United States. And listening to it, I can't help but see why he never really caught on here. It doesn't really fit neatly into any sort of genre. Just kind of is, and I guess it's cool he does his own thing. But I can see why his CGI chimp movie didn't really do well in this country, because nobody knows who the hell he is. I don't know what they were thinking. Besenkovich says there was a potato drop in Idaho for New Year's. Of course there was. Ponythroat says in the year 2525 by Zager and Evans. I don't think I've ever heard that. Anyway, obviously there's very big news going on. Donald Trump, after years of promising to, get out of needless military interventionism, he engages in semi-needed military interventionism. Okay, so American Special Forces announced a Saturday operation. Airstrikes crippled Venezuelan military targets before Special Forces captured Nicolas Maduro, who faces drug trafficking charges. They're probably going to plant in Maria Machado as the new leader, who says, "We are ready to take over the government." She's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She dedicated her Peace Prize to President Trump. Okay, yeah, she's a big Trump supporter, Senora Machado. And I know I'm a bit ambivalent on this sort of thing. I mean, look, Nicolas Maduro he's still alive. He is not a good person. He has run Venezuela into the ground with years of communist horseshit, as did Hugo Chavez. But again, I don't know how... I guess I can't... I mean, I'm not a big fan of military interventionism, as you all know. But you know what? I will say this. If we have to do this, I prefer if we didn't. But I would prefer if it was this sort of like surgical, quick strike sort of thing. We went in, we went out. You know what we didn't do? We didn't do, 20 years of meaningless occupation that made the entire country hate us. I would prefer if we didn't chase dragons to fight overseas, but if we have to do it, I guess this is the best way you could do it, I suppose. Okay, let's see. Yes, the Maduros are in prison. Okay, Biff Stankovich says Donald Trump has been prattling on and on, and now he has oil. I mean, yes, Venezuela has lots of oil. I mean, frankly, I find it kind of amazing that Venezuela has arguably, some people speculate they might even have the biggest oil reserves in the world, even more than Saudi Arabia. And they've just totally blown it completely. Alpha Rodriguez says Trump should address the country if they tied up Maduro like Jabba the Hutt and Leia. Well, it certainly has the physique of Jabba the Hutt. Hey, Pony Throat, referring to Robbie Williams, says, in the UK he had a hit called Rude Box, which is a bizarre song, one step away from being on the Extreme Paintball soundtrack. Okay, Alpha Rodriguez says, yoink. Ponyfoot says the El Presidente abduction was a special military operation that Russia wishes it could have done. Yes, probably. Okay, for what it's worth, the people in Venezuela are quite happy about this. So, dare I say, I am tepidly not totally against this. In the sense that if you have to play superhero, do it quickly and, go in and out. Like we did in the first Gulf War. We were in and out of Iraq in 4 months. As opposed to the second Gulf War, where we went in for 20 years and we installed a puppet government, and I guess it worked, kind of, but sure doesn't feel like a win. But of course, they had to do, like, Halliburton contracts and things to keep people just kind of dicking around, jacking off. Okay. Ponyfoot says Trump confiscated his RuneScape gold. Yes, we did discuss this a little while ago, Ponythroat, that the de facto currency of Venezuela is RuneScape gold. Which says you need congressional approval before you instigate military action against another sovereign country. Yes, the constitutionality of it is why I dislike it. Again, I would prefer that we not do this at all. I'm saying if you have to, I would much prefer special forces operations, in and out, quick strikes, instead of, long-term occupations that kill lots of people for no reason. Yes, then Besankovich refers to the, the Iran-Contra thing, which is a colossal farce. But hey, at least we got the Contra video game out of that. So, some good came out of Iran-Contra. Very little good, but some. Okay. Well, here's the Monroe Doctrine, I suppose. Someone in a Twitter thread says it best. In 10 years, we're going to get to hear a dozen different Delta Force operators yelling at each other on podcasts about who was the guy who got into the room and captured Maduro first. Yeah, Maduro said, GIs, this will be your second Vietnam. It was not. Yeah, it turns out, in fact, that Nicolas Maduro's, katas he was doing on the street were not very effective. Alpha Rodriguez says, I feel happy for the Venezuelan expats, sad for my leftist dad. He's taking a walk, so he's going to be screaming for an hour. Yeah, if there's one thing leftists love, it's, third world Marxists. I don't know why. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't know. This is... Maduro was not a good man. 83% of boats coming from Venezuela had drugs coming to the country. But do I think it's right to necessarily, invade other countries? No, not necessarily. I think we could just, hunker down the borders and just stop ingress from Venezuela, but, Trump wants to, play with little clay figurines like Zeus and Clash of the Titans and play politics, I suppose. By the way, I should inform you people that this stream is going to be a little short. I have to keep it under an hour because I have to take the dog to the groomer. Okay. But yes, the people are celebrating and happy. But I also recall that the people were celebrating and happy in Baghdad when Saddam Hussein was overthrown. But then we blew that goodwill. Let's hope we don't blow it here. They're probably going to blow it. But let's hope not. Okay. And yeah, since Delta Force was involved in this, a lot of memes of the Chuck Norris movie Delta Force are trending, which is nice. I always like to see the Chuckster, getting some praise. There's also some pictures going around of pictures comparing modern day Delta Force to 90s Delta Force. I'll just say it. 90s Delta Force operators literally look like a bunch of accountants with bulletproof vests. Perhaps that's more effective. I mean, these guys seem to be pretty effective, but maybe being lean and mean is better. Who knows? Let's check out some comments here. Ponythroat says, Maduro isn't worthy of holding Ho Chi Minh's jockstrap. Indeed. Say what you will about North Vietnam, they were very competent men. Ho Chi Minh, Nguyen Giap, guys like that. I mean, they were certainly capable, unlike Maduro, who seems like a bit of a jackass. Bish Lankovich says, Rubio says Maduro had an opportunity and settled, and he played games with the president. Doesn't like big boy games. Yeah. Again, my opinion of this whole thing is I would prefer if America didn't play imperialist, but if we have to, I like things to be done, quick and surgical instead of just blundering around for 20 years in an occupation trying to force a bunch of, dead-eyed bio trash to live like civilized people. Alpha Rodriguez says, for my dad, he just hates the CIA and Israel, so he supports the people going against them. Well, I mean, that's pretty typical of the modern left wing. They just hate America above all else. Anybody who fights America is bad. Or is good, sorry. Which is how you get lefties supporting both communists and fundamentalist Muslims, because that makes a lot of sense. Ponythroat says, whenever I think of Delta Force, I think of these series of tactical shooters games that still use Doom-like weapon sprites well into the 2000s. I didn't know there was a Delta Force shooter. I'm going to look that up right now on my favorite abandonware website. That's Delta Force. I spelled with an X and a E. Sorry, C is right next to the X. Okay, let's see. Well, here we are. Okay, 1998. There was a shooting game, Delta Force. Okay. I'm going to have to check that out at some point. Fortunately, despite being on an abandonware website, it is not abandonware. Okay. So let's see what else is trending here. Oh, Keir Starmer had something to say. First of all, he says the UK was not involved in the Venezuela operation. It seems to be that the US no longer trusts the UK. I mean, probably not. I mean, when I complain about the U.S. being the world's pay piggy, I'm referring to Western Europe more than anybody else, just FYI. So I don't think much of the NPC Keir Starmer, Mr. I've never had a dream, I've no favorite books or songs, I'm just a blank slate of blind ambition. But leaving behind the Venezuela thing, Keir Starmer had some things to address about the UK. Yes, for once, a European politician wasn't just whining about the United States. He actually said something about his own country. On New Year's Eve, Mr. Starmer acknowledged that times are tough. He outlined steps like having more police on the streets because the crime is going up, energy bill cuts in April, freezing railway fares, and boosting minimum wage and child care. He framed these as a start of reversing long-term decline after Labour's 2024 election win, despite a £22 billion budget deficit inherited from the Conservatives and tax rises. Polls show that his approval is at 54%. People call the promises empty amid higher energy costs. Supporters say he inherited a mess. So in other words, it's the same crap you would hear in American politics. Yeah, I don't care for Mr. Starmer all that much. I mean, the UK and the USA seem to be in a race to go to hell in a handbasket, and Canada's not far behind either. Okay. So, yeah, screw Keir Starmer. Okay. Ponythroat Throat says, nobody was claiming the UK was involved. What an incredibly specific denial. Yes, I thought that was a bit odd myself. I don't know, maybe Keir Starmer's just upset that he didn't get invited to play. Alpha Marighi says, Joe Biden in June 2020, Trump talks tough on Venezuela, but he admires thugs and dictators like Nicolas Maduro. I stand with the Venezuelan people and for democracy. Yes, Joe Biden said that. I mean, Joe Biden and Donald Trump appear to have one thing in common. They both soil themselves in public, allegedly. But that's a whole different issue we'll get to in a little bit. Ponythroat says, Keir Starmer seems to be committed to the least popular PM of all time. I mean, he's going to have a tough fight to beat that woman who was PM for less than a year. Theresa May. You can see how little I care about her, or anybody cares about her, because I forgot her name. So let's see what else is trending. There's a lot of people talking about Operation Absolute Resolve, which is, of course, the Venezuela thing. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on. But let's see what else is going on. Something is going on in Iran. Okay, so Iran is having its yearly violent protests sparked by the general shittiness of things. Okay. Yeah, despite what many people believe, Iran is not doing so hot. Well, what I mean to say is, the people in Iran are not very happy about their government. Yes, there are many, speaking of Venezuela and its expats, there are many Iranian expats who, wish that the Islamic Republic of Iran could be overthrown. Some people go so far as to say they want to reject Islam entirely and revive Zoroastrianism. I think that's a little extreme. I mean, you can't just force a religion on a country, I say, as if Islam wasn't forced on Iran in the 700s. But I mean, still, it's been close to 2,000 years, the better part of 2,000 years, I should say. So people are not going to give up their religion so easily. With that being said, I wouldn't mind seeing Iran have a more liberal government, if only so we could get some Shiraz in this damn country. Shiraz is a very good red wine that I enjoy very much. I mean, there's California Shiraz, inspired by that same Persian excellence, and it's fermented in the bottle, like the best Iranian Shirazes. The Persian wine. Sorry. I had to. But yes, Shiraz is a nice, flavorful red wine, formerly made by the good people of Iran for many thousands of years. And then, once the Ayatollah took over, they put the kibosh on that. Yeah, I enjoy Shiraz myself. Most Shiraz nowadays is actually made in Australia. See, the modern Shiraz grape was brought to Australia by James Busby, the father of Australian wine. So, Busby, when he's not, fighting the woolies with his bobcat powers, he's actually the pioneer of Australian viticulture. Also, yes, I'm referencing Bubsy in 2026. God help me. Okay. Looking at some comments here. Alpha Mariga says Trump loves Maduro so much he collected him like a Pokemon card. Bislankovich says this is all part of the Trump wave. Ponythroat says Liz Truss is who I was thinking of, not Theresa May. She lasted 45 days. She killed the Queen and ruined the economy. Theresa May was before her. Yes, I apologize. I guess I'm not as well versed on British politics as I should be. I mean, Europeans aren't very well versed on American politics. It doesn't stop them from running their mouths about it constantly. Okay. This link says it's a distraction from the Epstein case. Yes. I mean, breaking news. The entertainment industry and politics are just run by pedophiles. It's not just my barber anymore. It's just pedos all around. Ponythroat says he understood that fighting the woolies reference. Yes, yeah, we can't forget Bubsy. And then there was the sequel, which, there was, some kind of pig man who was the bad guy. I don't remember. I played it once when I was, 4 years old. Ponythroat says they also need to rename Iran as Persia. I mean, technically speaking, Iran is actually the Persian name. So, I can't really criticize them for naming it what they want. I mean, it would be nice if they renamed it as Persia, but, I mean, personally speaking, I just wish that, religious freedom could be there, so if people want to revive Zoroastrianism, you can. I mean, I think the Zoroastrians are pretty cool. I like those big fire pits they have. And their symbology is pretty neat. I can honestly say I've never met a Zoroastrian, but I'm sure there's some kicking around somewhere. I don't know how many Zoroastrians there are in the United States. Then again, Mormonism is a religion that originated in the United States, and I've only ever met one Mormon in my life, so, what can I say? Yes, so, in Iran, people are protesting. They're calling for the Shah to return. I mean, I don't know if that's really the solution here. Yes, there's women ripping off their hijabs, which, I mean, I'm all for. Kidding, of course. Well, I mean, I'm for women ripping off their hijabs just in the political sense. I'm a happily married man. Okay. But yes, rip off those Shador sisters. Yes, I see several people calling for the Shah to return. I really don't think that's the right call here, but, some more moderate form of government, certainly. Yeah, Darius and Xerxes are not coming back, no matter how much you want them to. Ponythroat says, remember, at one point, Maduro broke into singing John Lennon's Imagine, and then he was abducted for being cringe. Yeah, I'm sorry, Imagine's a song that just pisses me off. It's just, I mean, it's basically what the powers that be want. They want us to just we'll have nothing and we'll be happy for it. Yes, between singing John Lennon's Imagine and doing, bullshit katas, Nicolas Maduro is a very cringy person. I mean, say what you will about Hugo Chavez, at least he didn't embarrass himself in public like this. I can't see Chavez, you know, singing stupid songs and doing like white belt katas in public. Maybe he did. I'm not aware. I mean, I haven't watched much in the way of Venezuelan television. Okay, so yeah, this is what's in the news for the most part. It is Venezuela and Iran, and I think I saw something about Russia going on. Let's see what's going on in Russia. Okay, yes, U.S. renews top travel warning for Russia amid ongoing risks. Well, I mean, the thing with Russia is, I mean, as an American, I fully blame America for this, because, like, Russia did genuinely extend the hand of friendship to America in 1991, and we smacked it down for no reason. And that, I think, was a huge mistake. You know, in 1991, we should have disbanded NATO. We should have welcomed Russia into the fold. We should have helped Russia become a real democracy. And, you know, I think the world would be a lot better now than it is. So, yeah, turns out that despite all the claims of multipolar world and multipolarity, Russia did absolutely nothing to help out Maduro. Apparently some Chinese officials were caught in the crossfire during the Operation Absolute Resolve. Thankfully, I don't think anybody was hurt. I don't even know how many people were killed in this raid. I think it was very surgical. Okay. Parthos says, imagine there's no heaven. Should have imagined there was no revolvers. Old joke. But, you know, still a good one. Parthos says, Nicolas Maduro, the Steven Seagal of dictators. Yes, as opposed to the actual dictator of Belarus that Steven Seagal has very big buds with. Speaking of, Trump not to be outdone with Venezuela, says we should also take action on Mexican cartels. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, Donald Trump says Mexico is a state basically run by the cartels. I mean, yeah, that's basically true, but I would be a little bit more wary about getting involved in military action right on our front door. If only because you would have a lot of refugees coming in. I think you should really focus more on getting people off the drugs. And if that includes cracking a few brappy skulls on Kensington Street in Pennsylvania to get the fentanyl zombies off the streets, then by God, we should do that. As if we don't have enough quote-unquote refugees from Mexico. Doesn't like 30% of Mexico live in the United States? I don't know why I brought that up. Oh yeah, Russians are really worried about Venezuelan oil prices. It won't be profitable for us to extract oil. A couple months we'll starve to death. This is a checkmate for the economy of the underdeveloped trader Putin. Okay, the Americans have extended their resistance for another century. Ours has ended in a month. I mean, personally, I would think that, like, taking out an oil producer would increase their prices, but, you know, what do I know? But, you know, if you must attack the cartels, I guess you would do something similar, just very quick surgical strikes in and out, instead of occupying them for years and years and years. And, you know, I gotta say, if Trump keeps this up, I'll be tepidly supporting this at the very least. I mean, not so much, Trump allegedly soiling himself. Yes, so apparently, yes, there's a speech in which people are claiming that Trump soiled himself while speaking, namely because a woman behind him had a very disgusted-looking face. I mean, she had the face that is distinctly the face of smelling something bad. There's pictures of Trump with notably, stuffed-looking hindquarters, perhaps wearing adult diapers. Again, Joe Biden has also been accused of soiling himself. Boy, it'd be really nice if America could elect some people who aren't like 80 years old and losing control of their bowels. But I guess this is the only option we have. Okay, yes, people are accusing Donald Trump of having loose bowels caused by decades of using stimulants like cocaine and Adderall. He regularly craps himself in public. I'm going to briefly watch this video. Okay, there's no sound. I was hoping to hear Trump let it rip in public, but I guess it's not to be. Pony Throat says, starving to death due to government ineptitude in Russia, perish the thought. Yes, the black soil of Russia is not the blacking. Wait, I think the black soil is in Ukraine, actually. That super fertile soil. Again, I still say that America messed up in 1991 by not, welcoming Russia into the fold. But that's just me. Al from Riga says, Vance is winning 2028. Yeah, probably. Pony Throat says, Trump is not incontinent. He intentionally shattered his pants. Yes, he's deliberately and precisely crapping himself. Pony Throat says, I thought he had loose bowels because he eats Trump steaks. Yes, Trump did try to sell mail-order, Omaha steaks in the 90s. Ian Kempster says it's probably the absolute garbage diet he's on. Yes, Trump does eat much in the way of fast food. It is, he's not very healthy, Mr. Trump. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. Right. So let's see what else is going on. Guess we'll kind of wind things down, so to speak. Okay. In New Jersey, there were raids targeting the ultra-Orthodox Jews accused of massive amounts of welfare fraud. What is going on? I don't know. Yes, I have heard quite a few things about certain groups of Orthodox Jews using massive amounts of welfare fraud. One of several groups to do so, might I add. But, in fact, quite a few people are taking welfare fraud out of this country. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Many people see America as just a big pay piggy they can just exploit at will. Just cut that fat meat off that cow, pig. I'm mixing my animals here. A wonderful, magical animal that has ham and bacon and pork chops. But yeah, there's a lot of fraud going on there. The Somalians in Minnesota are doing massive amounts of welfare fraud, including setting up daycare centers with literally 0 children. There's a lot of corruption that needs to be cleaned up in this country. And Trump is too busy gadding about outside the world to fix the problems we have in here. Hopefully somebody will fix that. Let's see. Hey, we got a few comments here. Ponythroat says, if it's his diet, then he craps himself for the same reason Chris Chan does. Yes, Chris Chan also eats garbage food. Okay, Ian Kempster says it could have gotten a much better Republican or Cyrax. I mean, personally, I think Sector would have been a better Republican, but, Cyrax is good too. Yes, Trump should get credit for at least addressing some of the problems that are in this country. Just wish that he could have, not been a delusional old man crapping himself. Ponythroat says, I thought it was Somalians, not ultra-Orthodox Jews. Oh, they're both committing welfare fraud. I'm going to read a bit more on that story. Okay. Okay, meanwhile, Alpha Marigi says, I think Nintendo fucked up in 2004 when they brought back the SNES button layout without rotating them 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, A, the primary button is in the tertiary hand position. Absolute insanity. If you're referring to the GameCube control, I never had a problem with it. Okay. Let's see, so I looked up welfare fraud. There's a lot of it going on in Minnesota. Like, these people are literally running daycare centers and making like $1.5 million off it. Okay, in Georgia, there's horseshit going on. Yep, Ohio, there's Somalian welfare crap, scams. Yeah, the ultra-Orthodox are doing it too. Certain, towns in New Jersey and upstate New York as well. Yeah, we just need to, it would be great to, clean up the corruption here. Yep, good old Lakewood, New Jersey. Okay. Biss Lankovich says he went to see Avatar 3. He did not like it. Constant fighting for 3.5 hours. Great dream, James Cameron. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know anybody who watched Avatar 2. I mean, everybody and their grandma saw the first one. Did anybody watch the second one or the third one? I literally know nobody who has. Okay, Alpha Marigi was in fact referring to the Nintendo DS, as Ponythroat and him clarify. Yeah, the GameCube controller is good. Yeah, I have no problem with it. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the DS myself. I sold mine off years ago. Yeah, I mean, the two game consoles I have a Nintendo Wii and a PS3, and the GameCube controller and the PlayStation DualShock are actually pretty similar, so can't really complain too much. Okay, Alpha Marigi says boomers saw the second but skipped the third Avatar. Rick JD87 says if they want to end cartel action, AI could just make up endless new Dragon Ball Z episodes. Well said, sir. Yes, Latin America loves them some Dragon Ball Z. Why, I don't know. But yes, when Akira Toriyama died, I swear to you this happened, and I talked about it on the stream when it happened. Toriyama, when he died, they literally had a 24-hour, peace treaty between the cartels in Mexico, because everybody was mourning, that great man, Akira Toriyama. Okay, Ponythroat says they want to get away from the GameCube's higher price aesthetics instead of it being a good layout. Alpha Marigi says the DS is a good system, but the A button should be on the bottom, not the right. I don't know, I feel like video game controllers are pretty standardized nowadays, and they've more or less figured out how to do it. I mean, there's been some absolute crap controllers, namely the Atari Jaguar was an atrocious controller. Then the early video game consoles, they had they were basically like telephones, like the Intellivision, the Coleco. Yes, Ponythroat, Toriyama died. He did not go to the infinite dimension. And there was no parachute to save him that they just edited in haphazardly. Okay. And finally, like I said, this is going to be a short stream today. Remember a while ago how we talked about hobby horsing, where people hop around and prance with little stick horses? Yeah, apparently there's something even stupider. In Germany, there is hobby dogging, in which you basically walk an imaginary dog. In other words, people are just carrying empty dog leash and they're just kind of like running around the park with them. They're going on little dog ramps and doing slaloms with no dog. Just kind of, gadding about with their non-existent dogs. And, this is the thing they're doing in Germany now, at least in one city in Germany, Heilbronn. Dogs without a dog. And my dad wants me to get naturalization papers for this clown shoe country. Not only is there hobby dogging, there's now professional coaches for hobby dogging. People always talk about how, like, European countries and European settler countries, like the United States, Canada, etc., have, like, below replacement fertility rates. If this is what we're doing, maybe we deserve to go extinct. We're doing this, like, invisible dog walking. Boy, I never thought I'd be ashamed of being a white person, but here we are. I mean, say what you will about, like, the hobby horsing. At least that requires some modicum of athletic ability. And, horses are expensive. I can understand why people wouldn't have an actual horse. But now there's invisible dog walking. Bang up job, Germany. Okay. Alpharita says, do you think any of those Mexicans actually read Dr. Slump, though? I mean, I think they were just mourning Dragon Ball Z. I mean, maybe some of them did read Dr. Slump. I don't know. What did sorry, excuse my ignorance, but what did Toriyama do besides Dragon Ball and Dr. Slump? I want to say he did some other shit. Give me a second here. I'm going to look it up. So while I'm doing that, I will look up some other comments. Oh, right. I forgot Chrono Trigger. Duh. Okay, so yeah, there's Dr. Slump, Dragon Ball, Go-Go, Ackman, Kawa, Kajika, Sandland, Jocko, the Galactic Patrolman, Blue Dragon, Jump Force. And of course, we can't forget about Tobal #1, that PS1 fighting game with, like, all the characters are basically bootleg Dragon Ball characters, like the Y Warriors. Oh, and Dragon Quest. How could I forget? Oh, wait, I do know how I could forget, because I've never liked Dragon Quest. Yeah, I said it. Come at me. I've never liked Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior, whatever. I always thought it was wildly overrated. Chrono Trigger I do really like. And Chrono Cross, too. Anyway, Ian Kessler says the Dreamcast controller was bad until he got used to it. I never had a problem with it. Rick JD87 says Germany has bred some great dog breeds. Now they want to mime dog breeds? I guess so. Ponythought says, in the UK, dogging means having anonymous fellatio via a car window open a few inches. Interesting. In Boston, dogging means going to a bar and getting drunk and picking a fight with somebody. Me? Alpha Marigi says, just in, President Trump, the Monroe Doctrine. We've superseded it. It's the Donroe Doctrine. Yeah, clever. Okay, and then Chrono Trigger, Sandland, Lady Red. So yeah, Toriyama has done quite a lot. And yet the man never learned how to draw faces. So yeah, that does it for my prepared remarks. You can say your last pieces now, should you desire. Also, fun fact, the story of Tobal is actually about like these people fighting over mineral rights. Yes, these people are on this planet because they want to fight for the exclusive rights to mine minerals, to mine Molmeran on the planet of Tobal. Okay, Ponythroat says the worst controller is probably the CDI wireless controller, the Atari 5200. Ain't nobody here has ever used either of those. I have not. I have played an original Philips CDI once in my life, but yeah, that wireless controller I did not use. I'm sure, I know Angry Video Game Nerd did a whole video on the CDI. He probably talked about the wireless controllers somewhere. Bislankovich says, Trump wouldn't know who James Monroe was. He wouldn't even know where the adoption applied or what year it was. Rick JD87 says, thank you. You're welcome, sir. Yeah, so I'm going to give you one more minute to say your last pieces. I mean, you can't ignore the brilliant plot dropping of the plot of Tobal #1 that I just mentioned. Oh, and fun fact, canonically, Tobal #1 takes place in 2027. So yeah, we just got one more year. Then we're going to go to this planet and do Dragon Ball Z fighting for mining rights. Alfred says, did you watch any Dory Luce and Associates yet? No, I have not. Okay, Ponythroat says the CDI has a critical design flaw that means every CDI in 2026 is basically broken. I mean, you weren't missing much. Yeah, we're going to really miss those Zelda CDI games. The only entertainment value you can get from those games is the little cartoon bits, and those are all on YouTube. Oh, by the way, Toriyama also did character designs for Mystery Dungeon, which I never played. I did play the first Shiren the Wanderer, which is kind of like that, I guess. Ian Kemper says Dragon Ball sucks. I disagree with you, sir. I mean, it's been run into the ground, but I will vouch for really the original Dragon Ball more than anything. Okay, Ponythroat goes on to clarify what's wrong with the CDI, besides everything. Okay, so this has been Larsen Halleck for Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day and a happy new year. I'm heading out.